Or a friend that I'm just listening to.
So, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Wait, how are you?
Well, I'm pretty frustrated right now. I can't get anything done with my kid at school. His teachers are calling me saying he's disruptive, but he's also not doing his work, and they won't meet with me. Teachers won't, or they don't have the time, to work this out, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this because it's just going nowhere.
So you're frustrated with the teachers?
Yeah, but I've got a lot of frustrations because I'm frustrated with my kid too.
Your darling kid?
This is hypothetical, so it's not any child you know. I'm channeling my experience as a teacher, not as a parent.
Oh, I see. You're frustrated with your child for the disruptions or the problem that it causes?
Yeah, I don't think he likes schools right so much, he's acting out, and he's not stopping, and it's just, it's like, why can't he stop?
So he's not liking school, and he's not stopping, and there's also frustrations with the school. Yeah,
the school, I don't know what they got in terms of responding to behavior stuff. I mean, he likes to tell jokes and draw attention. I mean, who doesn't? I was like that too, so it's like a chip off the old block, you know what I mean? So, but, I don't know sometimes it seems like I'm getting this call like, oh, I made him go wait in the hall. Sometimes he's lunch detention. Oh, could you talk to the principal? I was like, I don't know what they're doing, and everybody's doing something different. And I ask him to explain, and he doesn't know what in the world he's talking about. He doesn't make any sense to me. I can't figure out from him. He doesn't tell me.
And so you don't get it from him, and you're not getting any clarity from the school.
No, I don't know what's going on.
And so then you're feeling powerless.
Well, I don't know what to do. Is that what powerless is? I don't know what to do.
Yeah. But you want something to change. But
I want him to not get in trouble.
Okay. And so the things you tried toward that end.
Yeah, I took away his Xbox, and I told him his friends couldn't come over, and all these things, and he just keeps doing it, and he just doesn't listen to me.
And so there's kind of a break in relationship.
We have a good time. We were playing Xbox together the other day, and not true. We don't have an Xbox. And we're having a good time. Now, I beat him in Halo 4, but but otherwise he's just like, if I want him to talk to him about doing right in school, then he just gets mad. He just turns away, and he just doesn't listen. I can tell he's not listening.
So it's kind of multi-level stuff with him, and then exacerbated by stuff at the school.
What's exacerbated?
Kind of made worse.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know which makes which worse, but I don't know I can't figure out what to do because it seems like he's the problem.
So you've tried doing stuff with him and stuff with the school, but they haven't responded, or?
Yeah, well, I don't know what they want me to do. And say they'll call me and they say these things, but I think, what am I supposed to do? He has lunch detention. Am I supposed to do something?
So they're just giving you information, but not about what's happening, but not giving you opportunity to try to problem solve?
Yeah. Well, I asked him about it, and then he doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah, I had lunch detention. I can't tell. He's okay with the concept. I made a joke and I got a lot of attention, which I like, and okay, I got lunch detention. Okay, it's okay. He doesn't mind, but they keep bugging me about he's got lunch detention, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
So when they let you know he has lunch detention, you're not able to say, hey, can we talk about what's going on here, or I'm not really liking this pattern, or?
Oh, I didn't know what to say. I thought I was just supposed to do something.
Okay.
I didn't. I asked to meet once, and they said, "Well, tell us when you could." And I haven't figured out a time I can meet him yet. So they asked that, but we haven't set it up yet.
Okay. So right now you're kind of in limbo.
Yeah, I guess.
With a lot of uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. He's in middle school. I've spent some time in middle school, been in 8th grade for 13 years. you know, this is what boys are like, aren't they? Sometimes they get kind of, you know,
They
wild.
Yeah, they can be, and so you're feeling frustrated though because you recognize that, and maybe it sounds like you're thinking that the school's not recognizing that as well.
Maybe, I don't know. I think there's this one teacher who doesn't like him. The emails always sound kind of snarky.
Snarky to you or snarky about your son,
Both.
and so then you have feelings for that teacher.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what to do, and so I don't want to talk to them because I don't like. Aren't they going to want to do something? You know, I mean, I'm assuming they prefer he not do this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't make him not do it,
Yeah.
and I think they think I can. You know.
Because they say that to you, or because you're inferring that from what they're saying, or?
I don't know. I guess probably I'm just thinking, I just feel that maybe I feel guilty or I feel that pressure. But, you know, I tell him what he should do, and, you know, he does what he wants. He's like people that way, so, you know.
So I wonder if pursuing some kind of clarity with the school might be helpful, or is that something?
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, it might be.
And yet moving forward toward that, it's been difficult for you to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I could ask that one 8th grade English teacher. I like him a lot. So, yeah, I should try to get that clarity and then see if there's somewhere to go.
Okay. So we can, if you want, we can talk about maybe some ways to pursue that clarity.
I'm good, I think.
Okay, all right.
Aren't I?
You're great.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions about any of that? Yes, Mary.
Really liked when you said, sounds like you feel powerless,
Mm.
because he kept saying that, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And you really got it, but I don't know if that helped him or not.
I don't know, in that role, did it help, Andrew?
Yeah, it helps. I guess one thing, I mean, I've heard this for years from Sandy, so I'm guessing it already, but it helps, and I do think this about middle school a lot, you know, we can't necessarily solve, we sit down and talk for a while, one more lunch detention and Billy will, you know, straighten up. It's like, no, you know, and I do feel powerless, but I also don't have complete power over the situation after all.
Mhm.
And so it did feel nice to have someone recognize that, yeah, there's a struggle with this and it's difficult to do. And there is clarity that's available, but it doesn't mean that if we sit down, then we'll answer it. I mean, you didn't say that, but I was kind of guessing, yeah, clarity would be a nice step forward from there and see what was available.
So so part of what I was doing though is that if we can acknowledge, yeah, there's a sense of powerlessness, then that can give some direction, so then I can build on that, and then that's when I could say, so you're lacking clarity and you'd like clarity. And then we can talk about other ways to move forward toward that. So by acknowledging what might be going on, then that helps to direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were just asking a bunch of questions. I was like, wait, is this an example of what not to do? But then I reviewed my notes. and I noticed that your questions, you know, were either parroting, which is the statement with a question, and so on. And so I was like, wow, that really is working. To draw out information.
Thank you, Derek. I asked one question
At the
in all of that.
end, yeah, I was gonna say,
did.
it sounded
Yeah.
like you were moving into problem solving
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. I could have done it differently, but I
Well,
just slipped.
you moved into problem solving,
Oh.
it felt natural.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'd gotten to a point where there were steps that were available, and if I had reacted badly to that question, you would have pulled back from it.
Mhm. Yeah.
By the way, I also asked questions hoping she'd answer. And
I
did
could
you
tell
make-
this was a little bit of an actual session.
Well, did you notice I asked a question?
Yes.
I was hoping she'd answer, and she didn't. Did anybody notice that? Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah, I noticed it. And I actually did answer it a little bit.
Well,
And
not-
then
not-
turned it around.
Not the way I wanted you to answer.
Oh, I
it.
see.
What question was it?
Yeah, what did you?
Well,
About eighth grade, or middle school boys.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is that the one?
Right.
Yeah.
And I've also at one point said, what should I do?
Oh.
Um,
I was waiting for you to ask that. What do you think I should do?
I was probably, I'm too well trained by her to know I'm not gonna get that.
So if he had, I would have said, well, I wonder if you have any ideas
Right.
of where to start.
Oh, you would have put it back on him.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, because
Yeah.
if someone, it seems like at that point, they're inviting you
Yeah.
to give.
Yeah.
But I know good therapists don't give a lot of answers.
It's actually an ethical dilemma for me because you're not supposed to.
Right.
No, I would start there because so often, and this is actually just kind of in general, a really good starting place for almost anything is to find out what have you tried in the past and how's it worked, because people have tried stuff.
Right.
And so, I think then you can build on. That way you're not starting at ground zero. You're just being able to build on, and you can hear what's been frustrating about whatever they've tried in the past, or. But no, I don't. At that point, I wouldn't have given answers because people don't want to really hear them. Actually.
So, by way of wrapping up, would you give us another restatement? I think that I always find the hardest part of this is, in fact, that we are not privileged to give the answer that solves the problem. And so you ought to do this, knowing as we lead into the stuff the sort of content-specific things. I certainly know what would be a good thing to do if you were me.
Yeah.
Or you or I. So could you give us as our last, before we stop, how important is that to make sure you're avoiding the sensation of trying to solve problems?
Well, I
Or
think it's,
value or even label problems.
yeah, it's so subtle because somebody really might be wanting answers, and so sometimes you could say, well, it's important because you don't live their life, and I mean, I can tell you, I've given great pearls to many people, and they'll come back the next week and say, oh, I didn't do what you said. What? And I've learned, I mean, I'm joking. People have other factors that they're considering that I'm not privy to or isn't even clear in the moment. And I also think God is sovereign, and God, He's going to speak to everybody differently, and I might have my little pearls of wisdom in my office, and the Holy Spirit is much more effective than all that I can say. And so that's part of it, is recognizing our own limits, and we've talked about that a little bit before, that we're limited in terms of what we're doing. And even in that situation or others, I might say, so I do have some ideas, and I wonder, would you like to hear any of my thoughts about, moving, possibilities for what you could do? So I'm inviting or asking permission to move into that if I do that. Does that make sense? I mean, it's a little different. In my office, people are coming for my input. In the stuff like Isaiah 58, they're not coming to you in the same capacity, and so that's one of the. I think it's more trickier because you at one and the same time you might be you're in this position of kind of serving, and so you've, for lack of a better word, you're kind of one up on who you might be serving, and yet in that capacity you're also at the same, you're building relationship kind of at the same level, and you're kind of peers, and so I think it's a tricky balance in how to navigate through that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's where but and at the same time, you're kind of, I mean, what you're doing with this is you're always kind of watching to see how are they responding to what we're talking about, or what I'm saying, or kind of where this is going. Yeah,
I find with a broken person, someone that's really broken, you need to give them all the dignity you
yeah,
can.
yeah.
You cannot say, you should do this, you should do this. That totally, they just reject that
Yeah.
out of hand.
Yeah,
You just say, is it okay with you if this?
yeah.
You know, every little thing, I mean it. Is it okay if we get coffee right now? Would you like that? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
just every step of the way, you grant them that dignity to make a decision.
Yeah. No, I love that. Dignity is a great word. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
Okay.